from the Playboy Club London, it's the ultimate test of the best in poker. 6 players remain to battle it out in 3 different disciplines for the title of Mixed Game Champion. It's time for the final. We're down to just 6 players and we're 1 game away from crowning the first ever Party Poker Premier League Mixed Game Champion. Let's meet our final table.
This American's one of the hottest players in poker, fresh off a 4th place finish in the main event of the World Series of Poker, Matt Giannetti.
Didn't really want to come all the way out here and, not have a shot at it, and now have a shot at it, and, hopefully everything will work out.
He's a regular in televised cash games the world over and a former UK Open champion. It's the UK's Andrew Feldman.
I'm really up for this. It's in my hometown of London, in the new Playboy Club, and I really feel as if I'm going to be the one to take the title down.
Max Pescatori has 2 World Series of Poker bracelets, including 1 in Pot Limit Hold'em and Pot Limit Omaha. The Italian Pirate will fancy his chances in this format.
It will be definitely a great victory, and I'll be very happy to bring the title back to home.
He was the Bluff Player of the Year in 2010 and has over $4 million in career tournament earnings. It's Canada's Sorel, Mizzi.
It's always fun having all the chips at the end of the tournament, so I'm hoping that will happen.
The 2010 WPT Player of the Year has 3 WPT final tables and a WSOP bracelet, all in the span of the last 18 months. This is American Andy Frankenberger.
If I win the title, it would just be a great plane ride home. It's never fun to take a flight across the Atlantic when you just lost.
He's considered one of the best tournament players in the UK and holds a World Series of Poker bracelet. It's Flushy James Dempsey.
Every time you play a tournament, the goal is to win it, so winning the title would be great.
Each point in the league standings converted to 20,000 in final table chips. Here's the starting stacks. Andrew Feldman and James Dempsey, co-chip leaders with 480,000 apiece. Max Pescatori has 400K. Giannetti and Frankenberger are close up, and Sorel Mizzi the short stack with 320,000. Always exciting to have a final table on tap. Even more exciting to be watching it with Mike Sexton. Mike, who do you make the favorite at this one?
Well, because it's a mixed game format, the guys I favor are the guys that play the Omaha the best. They're all great Hold'em players, we know that. But the 2 guys I think that play the Pot Limit Omaha the best would be Sorel Mizzi and Max Pescatori.
Yeah, and they're both going to be have chips, although Sorel is a bit short stacked. Now, the format for this final table, of course, they're going to be playing a level of each, and then after that, the chip leader gets to pick the game. That's going to factor in the strategy.
Well, it is. That could be a big edge for the guy that's got the lead, and certainly if he maintains the lead, we could be playing 1 game for the rest of the championship.
We could, and it's going to be the one the chip leader picks.
And here we go. It's the final table. The first level will be played as No Limit Hold'em. Good luck, everyone.
Time for the final table of the Party Poker Premier League Poker Mixed Game Championship. Luke Schwartz has joined Mike Sexton and myself in the commentary box for this final. Luke, when you look at the seat draw, who do you think's got a good or bad draw?
I think Sorel and Giannetti have got good draws. I think it's tough. I mean, positives and negatives to each of their draws. I don't think Max is that strong of a player, so having position on him is good. It's Frankenberger. I wasn't that impressed by his play, so I think having a seat on him was good as well. So, but they could prove me wrong in the final. What do I know?
Round to Max Pescatori in the the hijack.
Seat 1 raised to 9,000. Seat
And
2
what do you
passed.
make of Max Pescatori's hold'em game? He's
Personally, you know, I don't like to keep saying derogatory things about people, but I have to be honest, I didn't rate his game much.
you were sitting next to him in the last heat quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, Frankenberger's got the 2 10s here, and Giannetti has called on the button. I mean, are they deep enough where any play is okay here, Mike? Or do you like just taking off a cheap flop if you're Andy? He's re-raised.
I think the re-raise was good just since he was out of position. You know, he's probably got the best hand, and you know, they are quite deep, so he could get in a bit of trouble, but at the same time, you know, 10s is usually the best hand here, so why not get more money in the pot when you got the best hand?
Well, I feel pretty sure Max is going to make this call, and indeed he is.
Probably Giannetti will make it as well, even though he's on the button. I think he'll make it as well. He's got 9 and 21 more to go. It might be a fold, but I think he'll make it.
One thing we know about Matt Giannetti, and especially if you watch the World Series final table, he likes taking flops. I mean, he's always looking to take flops in position, sometimes out.
No, a lot of the time he defends his blind, you know. He does it out of position a lot.
Well, he's certainly a terrific player. Could have been the world champion very easy right now as we're speaking.
I think, honestly, this could be Giannetti's pot.
Is Frankenberger supposed to check now after he's re-raised when he gets called in 2 spots? It's pretty ugly, right?
This is the problem. Against one player, you'd fire out instantly, but against 2, you might hesitate with 2 overcards out there.
It's 2 bad overcards as well, you know. It hits their range a lot. King, Queen, King, Jack, all those type of hands. But it looks like he's going to bet it. It's going to fly straight through.
That's pretty gutsy.
It is gutsy.
It is, but he doesn't lack heart, Andy Frankenberger.
No, he doesn't.
I'll tell you that much.
He does not lack heart.
He might make some big mistakes, and he might do this and that, but he makes up for a lot of it with a lot of heart, I can tell you that. He is not afraid to get his chips out there.
There's always the fun thing about poker, isn't it? That you can overcome a lot just by putting those chips in.
1 pass, 3 pass.
The power of betting, nothing quite like it in poker.
And yeah. And for Andy Frankenberger, I guess he just won that pot out of sheer aggression. And he'll be comfortable. I mean, because of the way he's been through this championship, he's going to be comfortable when it's no limit hold'em.
Betting is what the game is all about. Make no mistake about it. And generally, the most successful players are the guys doing the betting.
I got offered it. I've been free rolling for 30,000.
Max says, I've obviously known Max, you know, seen him around for a while and stuff, Mike, but I didn't realize he had such a explosive personality at the table until watching him in the Mixed Game Championship this week. He took everything that Tony G and Luke had to offer and threw it right back.
He didn't seem to get along well with James, though.
No, he did not.
Yeah, I heard that little row. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
I missed that.
But sometimes it's just standing up for yourself at the table, isn't it? It's, you know, it doesn't even matter what's said.
Yeah.
Well, Max is more of a limit game specialist. He's a high-low stud player and a stud game player and a limit hold'em player. And you know, the big bet games aren't his forte, but still, he's just a very solid player, doesn't give his money away, and it'll be tough to get those chips off of him.
Well, look at this. Pescatori limped under the gun with the 6s. Dempsey in the small blind with a 7-8. He's flopped up and down. Pescatori's flopped a set. And speak of the devil, I mean, now does Dempsey, what does he have to think here? He's been raised.
You know, he's going to call. I mean, I don't think there's much other plays. He could re-raise and rep a set himself, but as we can see, that's not going to work out too well for him if he does, since Pescatori's got the virtual nuts. So yeah, he's just going to call.
He's going to call here, and if a 4 or 9 comes off,
and this pot would have been a lot bigger.
Max.
Yeah. If
this was a raised pot, this pot could have been a lot bigger. But this is a tough card for Dempsey because he's going to feel like he has to call one more now. He's hit a pair. And it's an easy bet for Max. Max should bet about 32.
And the other thing that makes it tough for Dempsey, that card, the straight cannot be hidden anymore, can it?
Yeah, that's very true as well.
That's his problem. If a 4 or 9 comes up now,
he's kind of got.
He may not get paid off.
He's kind of priced in a little bit because he's only bet 20k into 48. So I think he has to call the 20.
You better hope an 8 doesn't come off.
And there's something about that bet on the turn. It's really hard for it to be king-queen there at that stage, isn't it?
I mean, it could be king-queen. King-queen would bet that type of sizing. I don't see king-queen betting any bigger than 20,000. So,
Against
I don't see king-queen limping. So it probably isn't king-queen very much. It's usually 5-6 or a set.
Against this particular player, who's a very tight, solid player, you know, I think James can easily get away from the 2-8s here. You're just not going to expect Max to bluff at this pot when he got called on the flop and the turn.
Be interesting if James could find the heart to turn his hand into a bluff. I think that would get through, but I don't think he's going to, and I don't think it's the greatest play anyway. But I think just in this situation with Max's hand, he would probably fold if he got raised. Because Dempsey for sure knows he's beat, so he can never call the 30k. He's just going to raise or fold, and I mean he's probably going to fold like 95% of the time. But it would be sick if he just made it 110k, just rep like the ace-6 of spades or something.
You say sick, but I mean, you know, how can it be smart with, you know, he feels like he's in a good spot here, right, Mike? And listen to the story, right? It was a limp flop. He bet it. Max raised him, and now his bet. I mean,
well, that's why he knows that Pescatori almost never has a flush there. So, and he could have a flush himself. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's ambitious, and he was folding always.
I think a pretty easy lay down for him in that situation as well.
A lot of the people who have the heart to make that sort of bluff at that time are sitting in the commentary box, Luke. I mean, I might get through.
Maybe that's why we're here. See, Luke still got it in for Max because he had about 70% win against him in the Omaha tournament where he doubled up his stack and had a good shot to get through.
That was an incredible hand.
It was an amazing hand, and somehow Max's hand stood up, and he went on to win the heat, and he's sitting at the final instead of Luke.
Mm-hmm.
James Dempsey has been knocked back a little bit, which leaves Andrew Feldman sort of alone in the chip lead, but there's not too much in it right now. Dempsey's raised this from the button. This James Dempsey button, Max Pescatori big blind, their relationship is going to develop here.
Yeah.
One call.
Max is going to make the call, dominated right now by Dempsey's ace-jack.
But you just can't be folding ace-10 there. I mean,
no, you free bet him sometimes as well.
Now look at this. Both of them have a straight draw and a flush draw.
Interesting flop, to say the least.
I mean, Mike, a lot of people would check raise Pescatori's hand here. I mean, it's not his style.
Personally, I would just check raise it and bomb, and be all in on the river. But you know, it's a pretty brutal play, and I think he's just going to take the. Yeah, he has raised.
He has check raised it, and that's exactly what I'd have done as well.
Yeah, and then just
now
continue on.
He's got to fold, really. I mean, you know, he could already be drawing dead. He knows Max is a tight play. He doesn't want to draw to a jack-eye flush. He doesn't want to draw to just the wheel draw. You know, he thinks when Max re-raises his flop, he's pretty much got probably a flush, nut flush draw, or a set or a straight. You know, big hands.
When a guy re-raises you here, you really don't even want to make your diamond flush now.
That's what I mean.
You can do all your chips.
Exactly. I think he's going to fold.
He's called, and it feels like a pretty weak call. Is he called because he thinks that Max is likely to check the turn if he misses?
I mean, they're both going to check now, I think. I personally don't see much value from Dempsey betting. You know, he's probably got the best hand. I don't see.
Well, in his mind, he's got the straight and the flush draw, so. You know,
I don't really like a bet here, to be honest.
Well,
maybe a small bet's not too bad.
What do you think, Mike? Has he bet here like with the intention of?
I think he just knows that Pescatori's not one of these players who's going to go for the check raise on a brick turn with a flush. Wow, and he has done.
Luke, you're consistently wrong on every street here so far.
Check it out.
Max has check raised him twice in this same hand.
Wow, how about that? Max is saying.
But that's why I said he shouldn't bet the turn. There was no point to bet the turn. But I think James felt that, you know, Pescatori wasn't the type of player that would just check raise any hand here on the turn. He would have bet his flush, he thinks. So now James is just kicking himself for betting.
I mean, underestimate the Italian pirate at your peril. And it's all the history these guys have. Max has really come here showing him something new.
Well, James Dempsey now got to be fearful of the 6-high straight and the flush. Both hands of which beat his.
I don't think he's scared of the straight, the 6-high straight at this point. I think he's just thinking, oh, this guy must have a flush.
It looks so much like the nut flush.
Well, it looks like any flush.
And even if he does call here, I mean, the absolute best case scenario is what it is, which is that his opponent's got a massive free roll, right? I mean, there's no way that Max is bluffing at this stage. Like, Max has got the worst hand he could have, and he's not even bluffing.
That's exactly right. He's got the worst hand he has, and he's not bluffing.
He's got a straight and a straight flush draw.
Right. No, James, what are you doing?
Wow.
What are you doing? That's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you, that call is going to make
brave call.
Max back up a little bit on the river if a diamond doesn't
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He sure does.
I think it will go check, check. Oh, wow. Look at Max. This is brutal.
Do you think
120k, no chance Dempsey can call.
Is
Just
this
impossible call. That's too small a bet. It looks like he's only bet 60k. 55 is way too small in this spot. He's trying to push James off the same hand, and 55,000. He's giving him such a huge price, 5-6 to 1. You know, this is a bad bet sizing. He knew that James didn't have a flush, and you know, he probably put James on an ace with a high diamond, same type of hand as him. And if he was trying to push him off the chop, he should have bet like 120. And he's never going to get raised, you know. He's got the blocker himself. He never puts Dempsey on a high flush. I just would have bet 120 if I was Max. But he has played this whole hand pretty well, apart from the bet sizing on the river as well. And wow, he's folded for 55k.
Oh my!
Incredible.
What was?
God, that's a weird hand.
Well, if you're going to call a
Show
bet on
the
the
10.
turn there,
Show the 10 of hearts.
You look like
I guess he had a set.
no way he had a set.
Did he show the 10 of hearts?
No, he had to show the 10 of hearts. If you don't show, you're the biggest pigeon in the world if you don't show the 10 of hearts in that spot.
Luke loves to wind him up, doesn't he?
really
When they're at the
does.
table.
He really does.
0%. He had no
I think I
way.
might have a range of hands I could have.
You still live in Italy? Or?
This level, of course, the first level of this final table is going to be no limit hold'em, but we are showcasing the 3 different games in the 3 levels of this mixed game final table. And Mike, it's Omaha next, then pot limit hold'em, and then it'll be up to the players to choose.
Yeah, the chip leader gets to pick the game after we go through 3 levels of play here, and that's certainly an advantage for the chip leader.
Huge advantage for someone maybe like, you know, it's going to be a good advantage for Dempsey, Pescatori, Sorel. They all think they've got a good edge at Omaha, and I think they feel the rest of the players are a bit weaker at Omaha, so I think they would pick Omaha. I don't think anyone would ever pick pot limit hold'em.
Max Pescatori for sure. I mean, he's the guy that we absolutely know will pick pot limit Omaha.
I think Dempsey would pick Omaha as well. Maybe Sorel won't, because I think he thinks he's got an edge on the table at hold'em actually. And you know, the Omaha is high variance. Maybe he just wants to chip away and win the small pot. So I think if he's the chip leader by then, he'll just stick with the hold'em.
Well, Sorel may pick pot limit hold'em, believe it or not, because that's a game where you have to pay post-flop. You just can't move all in before the flop and take down the pot.
That's a good point.
And if he thinks he outplays everybody after the flops, why wouldn't you pick pot limit
Sure.
over?
And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it early before the blinds get too big, right?
Bet 12,000.
Well, here we go. Same 2 guys playing a pot again. Again, Pescatori.
Well, he's just out-flopped him big time here.
He sure has. I mean, he checked and let Dempsey bet on the flop.
Check.
And look how big that turn card is for both players. Max now has the unbeatable draw, the top pair plus the flush draw. If it comes a 5 or 10 of hearts, we're going to see some sayonara time.
Well, it was a good check that James Dempsey made on the turn there, because I believe for sure Max would have check raised him again. Might have check raised him out of the pot. Wouldn't have mattered much as the king of spades comes on the river.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Dempsey really has to put the brakes on here, Mike. You know, he's now done about a third of his stack. I mean, they haven't even played half a level yet.
You 2 kissed and made up, or you still?
No. We never fell out.
He just really wants to beat Max a pot, but Max is just holding over him right now, making the best hand every time he gets in there with him.
Yeah.
We'll be back after the break for more from the final table of the Mixed Game Championship in London. Welcome back to the Premier League Poker Mixed Game Championship. We still have 6 at our final table, and we're currently playing No Limit Hold'em. Now back to the action.
I said to Jesse, Italians generally are very proud people. You don't. They reach a point where you don't really want to, like, when you hit their point, they can just lose it.
I kind of did.
You did. You were. I didn't know whether.
Andrew always loves to stir up the table a bit, doesn't he?
He really does. He's kind of like, he's reminding Max
Andrew
how
Feldman's
angry
national
he is at
stereotype.
James Dempsey, just because Luke isn't there. So, you know.
But even if I lost it,
And meanwhile, Dempsey, who's been just dumping chips right and left, has now finally picked up a. Well, not finally. It's only been 10 hands. He's picked up the ladies. And
Yeah,
obviously,
they won't be pushing him around this time, but looks like Feldman's going to try, but he is not going to like this result, I don't think.
just like Tony G says, I have nothing against him.
See, one pass.
Feldman's made it 23,000, and I guess it's sort of a funny spot for Sorel because he knows from the
He knows that Dempsey's been dribbling off some chips and that Feldman might be attacking him here, and we might well see a 4-bet from Sorel here. I mean, we know it's not going to work because Dempsey's got queens, but it seems like a good spot for it.
Yeah, I mean, Feldman in the pot limit hold'em heat and in the no limit hold'em was really, really loose 3-better, and this would have been a good spot to be a loose 3-better.
Well, and as you said, Mizzi seemed to read him every single time, and in this case, if he reads him as a weak hand, that's because he is a weak hand, but...
And this is a great re-raise for Mizzi, right? I mean, he's going to be unlucky in the fact that Dempsey has 2 queens, but this is great, isn't it?
Well, it just shows you that he knows Feldman is just added here.
Yeah.
He's playing Feldman far more than Dempsey here.
And now that it's a total of 58,000, Dempsey's only got 300K. Is he a bit handcuffed? Is
Tough spot.
I mean, it's a tough spot with queens.
I mean, it's not a tough spot, but it's tough to know whether to jam or to re-raise.
You're never. Are you ever folding
I'm
here,
never
Mike?
folding here.
No, but even if you put your opponent on an ace-king, as Luke says, sometimes you may just call, look at a flop, hope an ace or king doesn't come out, and then get your chips in there.
No, he's moved in. Oh, he's re-raised, yeah.
He's gone all in, as a matter of fact.
What do you have, by the way? 300, I think. Wow. Big re-raise. Nice hand.
Big re-raise, says Sorel. I guess what he means by that is he didn't have to go all in.
I mean, I like it better anyway. If Sorel did have jacks or something, the re-raise kind of reps ace-king more than it reps queens or kings or aces. So just a shove looks a bit more like an ace-king, I think.
I was thinking what a life of crushing Sorel on TV. Oh, yeah, America.
One more hold'em hand, right?
It irritates me. Yeah. It's all about money with you Americans. That's your problem.
I mean, you talk about the happiest guy at the table, right? It's going to be Max Pescatori. Not only is he about to go to the game he thinks he has the biggest edge in, but he's added about 40% or 35% to his stack during the hold'em level.
Yeah, he's going to his best game as chip leader, unless something dramatic happens in this pot.
And wow, so every time it's been Sorel's button, we've only played 21 hands, but every time it's been Sorel's button, it's been folded to him, and he's raised, and Frankenberger has called.
You know, you just
said Frankenberger's a defender.
This is what Sorel likes, though. He likes someone to defend with 7-4 off.
No, I don't think so. You go finding out what you have.
Yeah. I predict Frankenberger's going to win this pot.
I think the check raise is good here with Frankenberger's hand. But
Oh, what a nice check by Sorel Mizzi. Just going to hope you can check it down with the ace high. I'll take the pot. Now a king comes off.
Frankenberger just has to bet now.
I think you have to be afraid of the king. Your opponent didn't bet.
No, it looks like he's got. Sorel's playing his hand kind of face up. If Sorel had like king 10, something like that, he would have bet the flop. But with ace, he feels like he's got enough showdown to check behind. So this is a card that's going to just get through. Sorel making a hero call here.
I don't. You think it's a call?
It's not. It's a good call. But you know, what's he going to do on a river? I want Frankenberger to just bomb every river. And wow, of course he's going to bomb.
He'll bomb this one.
Bomb it.
He made the straight on the river. One thing I can tell you about Frankenberger, he makes a lot of straights on the river.
Mike, you know a little bit.
Take it from me.
You know a little bit more about Frankenberger.
Busted me when he made the wheel on the river here in Omaha the other day.
And not only that, he bet it big. I mean, he didn't bet it like a straight. He bet it like a royal flush.
Bet 25,000.
But this is a very small bet. 25,000, about half the size of the pot.
Nothing's changed. So
Sorel thinks, I'm losing to a king, which he might have not have just led out with, or a 6. So there's a chance Sorel will call this with ace high.
Well, when I called his pot bet in the Omaha game the other day, all eyes widened when he raised before the flop and bet it on down. They turned up the deuce 5, 6, 10 offsuit in pot limit Omaha, and that was the hand he busted me with when he made the wheel. But
Call.
and he's made the call.
Nice hand.
And if he's like, what is this guy doing, calling me out of the big blind with 7-4 off? And, you know, you can't fault him for the call too badly.
I think it's a great call, and I say that because he didn't put his opponent on the king. He didn't give him credit for the kings, thought his ace high was the best hand, which it was, till the river card.
first level of this final table, and we're still a full table of 6. Not a great start for Sorel here, Mike, but I mean, to me, he's played the best.
We'll be back with more action from the Playboy Club in London as the Party Poker Premier League Mixed Game Championship continues after the break. The blinds have gone up. They're now 3,000 and 6,000, and the game is Pot Limit Omaha.
Well, guys, Pot Limit Omaha now. And, you know, Max Pescatori, obviously, he feels like it's his best game. You think Sorel is a good Omaha player as well, Mike?
Yes, I certainly do. I think Sorel plays all games good. He's just a terrific player. And for those who may not know, when you play Omaha, you get 4 cards. You must play 2 cards out of your hand and 3 cards off the board. That's the trick for you to remember. You must play 2 in your hand and 3 on the board, meaning if there's king, queen, jack, 10 of diamonds on the board and you have the ace of diamonds, you do not have a royal flush in Omaha.
Well, Max has raised this in first position, and you know, it seems to me like this is the kind of hand when he was sitting next to me doing the commentary, he would have said is not a great hand. It's a 3-card hand instead of a 4-card hand.
All 3 of these hands right now are all pretty bad for such early position raises. Giannetti likes his hand because I guess he's got the ace suited and the 9-7 suited. So his is, I think, the best of the
Max
three.
is not that thrilled with his hand, and you know, Feldman has the best hand pre-flop, but here comes the flop. King, jack, 10, all hearts.
And Pescatori and Frankenberger both flopping a flush, but I don't think this pot will get too big. Pescatori's almost just betting now, you know, maybe get paid off some. Well, actually, Pescatori's flopped top 2 in a flush, so that's why he's betting. I didn't think he would have just bet the 9-high flush alone. So he's flopped a pretty big hand, and Frankenberger, you know, he shouldn't have called here with this pretty much bag of tools. And now this is why he's in a bad spot.
He's in a bad spot.
Well, he's in one of those predicaments.
He's in a bad spot.
He is. He's going to have to call one bet.
And
not going to know what to do on the turn.
I mean, the problem is, if you're calling here, you're basically putting Max on the dry ace of hearts, as we say, where he's representing a flush where he might not have it.
Or he's trying to hope that Max has just got 3 kings and is just betting his draw. Yeah, or the ace of hearts.
Well, queen of diamonds comes off, and now Max is checking. He didn't want to fall into any big traps for big money right here himself.
Of course not.
Fearful that his opponent has a bigger flush.
Definite check.
What if
you know,
Andy
he is
bombs
only
this?
behind 2 flushes, to be fair.
Max, you mean?
Yeah.
But it certainly, you have to be wary. It was a multi-way pot.
Of course. But I'm saying he's only behind 2 flushes, so he can't feel too scared at this point.
He's only behind 2 flushes, but let me tell you something. If you bet and your opponent raises, it looks like you're behind 1 flush.
Yeah, of course.
And it's the one that beat you.
I was never saying he should bet. I'm just saying he's got to feel quite comfortable about his hand.
He's going to check.
Plus, he's got some backup. And
this is a king or a jack. He's going to catch any river card.
now he has to feel a lot better about his hand. You know, there's 4 hearts there. It's much more unlikely.
Well, I'm surprised Andy checked that on the river. Went check, check. So Mac's going to win this spot with the 9-3 of hearts.
And my guess is that's why he is playing this hand out of position. You know, or this sort of hand. You know, Max is thinking his edge is so big here. He wants to play hands.
I mean, his edge isn't so big.
Well, he thinks
it's just that. I mean, he's going to think now, yeah, wow, that's why I should raise this hand. But I think before the hand, he was like, maybe this was a bit loose. But obviously, he's seen Frankenberger call him with the 8-4-6-3, which is a leak to say the least. So and now he's going to be feeling, yeah, maybe I can push my edge. I think the whole table is going to be feeling that now after seeing Frankenberger's hand. And Frankenberger's bet on the turn.
I think he would have won it with a bomb on the river, though.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been bluffing, though.
C3 raised to 15,000. C4 plus.
No.
C5 call.
No one either. Yeah. Think about it.
Oh my gosh! And James Dempsey
flopped a straight flush.
Straight flush.
There's just no way, you know. Dempsey just wants the board to pair. He wants the board to pair so hard, or he wants Giannetti to have the nut flush, which we know he doesn't have. But
and he wants Giannetti to make whatever he's drawing at.
Right.
He just doesn't matter. If he's got 3 of a kind, he wants him to get 4 of a kind.
He can't believe it.
And when you do flop a hand this big,
I don't even think he knows he has a straight flush. I think
he knows it.
I think he thinks he's got a king-eye flush.
Believe me, he knows it. He didn't raise there.
9.
And there's no sense in him raising until the river, or is there? If he's up against an ace-high flush,
The ace-high flush is gonna, you know, bet away the whole time anyway. So
Let me tell you something, Giannetti's lucky that's the ace of clubs and not the ace of spade. If it was the ace of spade, he might continue to try to represent the big flush,
right,
and he would get punished for his ways. Here, I think he can easily get away from this hand now. He got called on the flop. I just don't see him going any farther with it.
His big problem, I guess, is that he doesn't even have a draw to like a full house or anything. He doesn't even have 2 pair. So he's just got such air that maybe he feels like...
So he's just...
Folks, you're watching a train wreck in action here right now. Giannetti is just going down. Look at James now. He's looking back to make sure. Do I really have a straight flush here?
I think James...
Unbelievable. We just can't believe he's checking that.
The only thing James is thinking now is, if Giannetti does have the nut flush, I don't want the board to pair so much that maybe I should raise here and just try and get it all in now. I would just take the chance and just call and hope the board doesn't pair if he does have, and you'd still stack the nut flush on the river.
No, you're not going to stack the nut flush on the river if the board pairs.
Yeah,
no.
I'm saying I would take the chance that the board doesn't pair. You know, 80% of the time the board doesn't pair.
So you're saying that
I would just call.
Because of the chance that Giannetti could be trying to barrel 3 streets?
No.
Yeah, you should just call here. I
yeah,
agree.
you should that as well. And you want him to...
You want him to have a set here, and you want the board to pair.
Right.
Or you want him to have the nut flush and the board not pair. Either way, he's going to get his chips in.
Look, he checked the river dark.
Check.
And this is a bad bluffing card for Giannetti, because now the 4th spade has come, is more unlikely that Dempsey is going to fold his flush. At this point, Giannetti is for sure putting Dempsey on a low flush. So...
And maybe even a king-high flush.
Maybe a king-high flush, but I think lower than that. I think he puts them on, yeah, maybe a queen-high flush, 10-high flush. But and the 4th spade hitting the river here is going to really, I think, should slow him down. You know, when the 4th spade hits, it's so much more unlikely that someone's going to fold their flush now.
See, this is a case that if he has this ace of clubs and bets here, this is a very poor bet in my mind. Very poor. If he had the ace of spade, I would say it's a very strong bet. But he doesn't have the key card in his hand. To be bluffing in Omaha, you have to have the key card. He doesn't have it, and it's going to cost him.
And maybe I'm just wondering if the pot is big enough for him to be making this bluff, or does that not matter? Because, Dempsey is not really under pressure for his stack right now. Does that element need to come into it to get through?
Well, right now I'm watching the Academy Award.
Oh, by James Dempsey.
By James Dempsey right here. I mean, we're just trying to see what kind of acting we can get out of him, though. Like, ho hum, oh no, what do I do? Blah, blah, blah. We know the whole stack is going in here.
Yeah, he can't
You're
really.
just loving life right now.
And he wins the pot very quickly, but it was just fun to watch guys,
When he did that check out
getting
position, he
their
had, like,
Screen
the
Actors
last
Guild card, working it right there a little bit there.
He had a smaller flush.
It's been fantastic to watch this mixed game championship and see players have to exhibit skill in a variety of games. For many, that means getting a hold on Omaha. Now, Mike, what's the key to Omaha?
Normally, Omaha is a game about not falling into big traps, and usually big traps are guys that draw to king-high flushes and that kind of thing. And there's an old famous Omaha story about the guy that lost 7 river bottom farms drawing to king-high flushes in pot limit Omaha. The first 4 times he missed his draws, the last 3 times he made them. He lost every pot. And there's a lot to be said for that.
6-2-4.
Giannetti's probably got the best hand out of the 3 of them.
But it's not a 3-betting hand, right?
No, he's going to call.
Would Queen Jack 10-9 have been a 3-betting hand for them?
Absolutely, that's an automatic pot for me anyway.
Even with his stack size in this tournament?
Yeah, definitely.
With his stack size, I'm not so sure, but now it's come 8.
So Pescatori's flopped the 2nd straight. Giannetti's got an overpair. I think Pescatori will just take this down with a bet. I can't see much else happening. Giannetti's not going to do anything out of line again. And Sorel.
These guys will be well aware that Pescatori could have a straight here, right?
Well, if he's betting, they're well aware of it. Probably when the flop came out there, they thought he had big cards, but now that he's betting,
see,
there's no chance they're going to think he's betting without a straight here.
It feels like he's thinking about a raise.
Part of his problem is the stack size. If he raises big here, he's going to be close to all in.
Right.
All in guessing on the turn.
Not have outs,
Yeah.
If he had a 9 and 2 10s, at least he'd have an out to win the pot where he could make the 7 and win the pot. As it is, there's no card he can catch on the turn and have the best hand.
Has he?
And he's doing it.
Right.
I don't mean it. Just being nice to the American.
60,000.
Even though Pescatori, he doesn't. Well, he does have actually two backdoor flush draws as well. He is putting Pescatori in a tough spot, even though Pescatori's got 2nd nuts here. I don't think he's going to fold for the 33,000 more, but.
Because, I'm sure 3 of a kind is a big part of Giannetti's perceived range by Pescatori, right? So he's going to have to get the board to pair to start scaring him.
No, he don't. No, that's a bad card because Giannetti. Pescatori knows that Giannetti wouldn't have check raised with a set. They were just cool with a set.
Okay.
Look at this.
And now Pescatori is making an interesting play. He is trying to push Giannetti off what he thought was 7-9 on the flop, and then he feels like a genius. But it was a very good play actually, because if Giannetti did have 7-9, he would have had to fold that turn. So I've got to credit Max for that bet on the turn, even though he had the best hand.
There's a hand that I think Giannetti just picks bad spots and bad times to raise a pot. You got to know that Max is not going to bet into 2 players with those middle cards.
Yeah, that's the thing. Pescatori wasn't going to be betting that flop with an airball or with a hand that he was going to fold to a check min raise into 2 players.
He was so zoned in, Giannetti, in his first two heats, or at least the first heat and the 3rd heat. Feels like he's maybe got a little jet lag or something like that, Mike. Just about
jet
half
lag.
awake.
It's been here 2 weeks, mate.
It's a serious ailment.
He's certainly marching with 2 left feet right now in this Omaha section. Anyway, you better hope we get back to hold him pretty quick.
And look, Sorel's got the aces, and Pescatori's got the king, and he just calls.
Well, trying to camouflage the aces.
So he doesn't feel very good about his aces. He doesn't have any flush draws with it. So
it's not the way he wants to go at it.
Frankenberger's got a nice hand, actually.
So
Dempsey's got a nice hand. You know, this could be...
Everybody's got a playable hand
something.
here.
Let's see some boomness.
Absolutely cannot criticize anybody for playing this pot.
That's probably going to be like 4, 5, 6. That'll miss everyone.
You want boom?
I want boom, though.
Ace, king, 9. Would
boom!
Well,
okay.
there's a boom, all right.
Who has what?
Well, Pescatori's got the blocker.
So, Mizzi's got top set, which is pretty much the nuts.
Frankenberger's got the queen eye flush draw.
Which is pretty much...
not very good.
Yeah, but it's going to be tough to get him out.
Well, Mizzi has got 3 aces. Nobody's going to put him on 3 aces because he didn't raise pre-flop.
And I don't know what Dempsey's thinking here. Dempsey thinks no one's got 3 aces because there was no re-raise pre, and that he can just steal this one. And as it is, Sorel's not going to raise Dempsey because he thinks that Dempsey's pretty much got 3-5.
And I disagree. 100% Sorel is going to raise this pot.
Do you want to bet?
Yes.
£100.
Bet.
Bet. On, yeah? It's booked.
Mike, why do you think Sorel should raise here?
Because there's a possible flush out there.
Yeah, but
you don't want to give your opponent a straight draw and a flush draw.
Okay, our bet's on and he's just called. Thank you. That's £100 locked.
Well,
how did you,
why 100 pounds?
Why did you think different, Luke? Why do you think he shouldn't? Just because it's a 3-5? But I mean, so you're saying that Mizzi...
Many reasons. He under-reps his hand by doing. No one puts him on aces if he just flat calls. If he does re-raise, he's only really getting action by 3-5. People will fold lower sets.
But so he's basically saying that he is prepared to not go broke
now,
here and to fold his hand.
Frankenberger could have come in this pot and won this pot.
Well, Frankenberger's passed.
He had the queen eye flush draw.
Yeah. Good on you, Andy.
If a diamond comes off, what does Sorel do now? Or the 3 of spade. How does he like his hand now? With the
I mean, he
3s?
doesn't like it, but Dempsey can't like his spot either. I mean, Dempsey's got complete airball. I mean, Dempsey could rep the 5-6-3 now. Wow. This is an interesting...
Are you telling me he's gonna barrel?
He has to hit a brick on the river and it's gonna work. I will guarantee you that.
It's gonna work?
When you've got 3 aces, when you're looking at this board, you think your opponent's got a straight.
And now it's 3-5 that turned into 3-5-6, right?
This is
yeah, that's the only thing that Sorel could be thinking this is fishy, because it was apparently 3-5 on the flop.
He could have had ace deuce 5.
Yeah, but I'm saying he might not think Dempsey would bet just a 5 here. He thinks Dempsey is polarized for 5-6 or like an air or a flush draw. So that's the only reason Sorel might call the river. But I think he's going to call now. And
Sorel's hoping he's got 3 4s. That's all he can beat right now.
Honestly, I don't mind Mizzi's call on the flop. I think he got an unlucky turn, but he's going to call now, and he's going to be betting the diamond on the river for sure.
I mean, Dempsey could be scared now that Mizzi has a 5. You know, had the 3-5 and now is just calling.
No, it looks like Mizzi's got pocket 4s or like ace 4 and a diamonds. It does not look... Now Mizzi's going to win the pot. Mizzi's going to be bluffing with the best hand on the river. Unless Dempsey can just... Yeah, he's switched off. And now...
they just give it up.
No, now Sorel...
Mizzi has to win the pot.
No, Sorel's going to go all in.
Why he doesn't have to bet at all? I wouldn't bet at all.
He's going to. It's the best play.
It's not the best play.
It is. He thinks the guy's got a straight. He thinks there's no chance he can win with 3 aces. How could Dempsey have 9-9 Jack 10 here? Dempsey's got... Look, Sorel's all in. I'll bet you double or quit so he goes all in on the 100.
You got to bet.
Okay, 200. Yeah. At least that he bets, right? That's the bet. Okay.
No, you said all in.
All right. No, he might not bet. Yeah, I think he's going to bet all in anyway. 215, 262. Okay, bet.
I bet 80,000.
I told you he was going to bet. We'll watch that second bet because it wasn't clear whether it was all in or thing. And he take it down.
I don't know.
So I think I read the hand pretty well. I knew what was going on there.
You did. It was pretty good. So obvious, he says. What a hand. I mean, Sorel is...
if Dempsey would have fired one more shell,
he would have had it.
He would have won that pot.
Mizzi, Dempsey, and Pescatori all played very well in that Omaha round, and they all favoured that game. And the other 3 didn't play so well, and they favour Hold'em. So
I totally agree. The guys that are the 3 chip leaders played the Omaha round well. The guys that are at the bottom didn't play it so well.
We're back after the break with more from the Premier League Mixed Game Championship. blinds have gone up to 5,000 and 10,000, and this level will be played as pot limit hold'em.
So pot limit hold'em, and Mike, for most of the guys, this is just going back to hold'em. There's not going to be that many different wrinkles we're going to see different than no limit hold'em right now.
Well, there's no all-in shove bets before the flop, and if you like to see flops and play after the flop, you're definitely going to like pot limit hold'em more. I personally think pot limit hold'em is a much more skillful game than no limit hold'em.
I won't do that. Really?
Pass.
If you guys pay me.
Giannetti, this is what he's been waiting for. He does like to let himself get low, but when it always comes in, when it just slots in
Wow,
there.
I didn't know he was so short. He's got 10 big blinds. Are we 5-10 now? Yeah. 12 big blinds.
He just let it slot in there. And
Now,
hello, darling.
You make a small raise here like he's doing, or would you move in with ace-king?
Well, it's pot limit. He can't, I mean.
Oh, yeah, it's pot limit.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I know how you make the final table.
I make the
See,
small
that's the
raise
difference
then.
already. Yeah, you make the raise.
Oh, wow, and it's going to go in anyway. Look at Feldman.
How much you start with, Matt?
Well, Feldman's very happy to see Matt has
A short
far
stack,
fewer chips than he
absolutely.
does.
Absolutely. This is one of Feldman's favorite spots. Get the short stack all in when he's got jacks.
Yeah. Or in case he's got the big overpair or hit something, he's not going to bust you. But certainly he's going to re-raise it here to shut everybody else out. And he's going to be prepared, obviously, to go all in.
I mean, he wants the action all in.
With Giannetti, sure. So here's the raise.
And Giannetti's obviously going to be all in. And
here comes the shutout of the rest of the players, probably. Let's see what they got.
I found.
Yeah, Max is not going to go.
Okay.
Well, a chance now for us to go five-handed, and it's going to be crucial, obviously, to both these players. It's about a third of Andrew's stack, all of Matt's.
Well, the classic situation in hold'em all the time, the two overcards versus the underpair. What we call a race. To win tournaments, you got to win races. Let's see who's going to win this one.
well, folks, this is a classic race situation. That's what I heard when I was raiding poker in 2005.
It's worked for me every time.
Feldman likes that.
And he was already complaining before the flop even came out
He's
there.
still complaining now.
Yeah.
Oh, there.
He wants a heart.
Oh, he's
Let's have
afraid,
the
he's
king
afraid
of
it's going to
hearts.
come deuce three. Watch, if a deuce or three comes, he'd moan. Oh, no. Didn't come. So we're down to the river. Andrew's got to dodge an ace or a king, and he does it. And that's going to do it for Matt Giannetti. Out in sixth place. Certainly a hand everybody alive would go all in with his chip stack. Just didn't work out for him tonight.
I think he's been a great addition to this mixed game championship. One of the hot players in poker. A real nice guy as well.
Don't forget all his banter as well.
he's had a lot of fun
No, I'm
over
joking.
here.
No, he's played really well
He's
anyway.
quite good.
We've lost Matt Giannetti off of our final table. You went into the pot limit hold'em round fairly short, so it was really was it the Omaha that got you?
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself a pretty good Omaha player, but I mean, I picked two spots to bluff that I don't regret what I did. It just they didn't work out very well, and you know, maybe I didn't need to fire the 75,000 on the river, but you know, I felt, you know, if he didn't have a straight flush, I thought I might be able to get him to fold. A pretty good shot at getting him to fold a king high flush. So.
How often do you think he has a straight flush there versus the king high flush?
Well, I mean, he could easily be calling me down in the tournament with lots of hands, just a lot of different flushes. He might even possibly call me in the tournament with a straight to see, thinking that I'm never going to bluff the river again, which is why I felt like you know, if I fire the river, if it's not a straight flush, you know, there's a fairly good chance with the amount of chips that I bet that he could fold the king high flush.
Well, we're sorry to see you go. It's been great watching you play here at the Premier League, so thank you.
Thank you.
Just 5 players left in this Premier League Poker Mixed Game Championship, and Max Pescatori has shown skills in every game to be the chip leader. Sorel, Mizzi not far behind on 500 plus K. James Dempsey's in there tight, while Andrew Feldman and Andy Frankenberger are now trailing.
Next time, the final continues, and we find out who will be crowned the first ever Party Poker Premier League Mixed Game Champion.
There will be a bet. The question is how much?
I honestly don't know what the right play is.
I think I have the more chips. Omaha, please.
I've never said it before, but one time.
It's like never easy for you, man.
It's an absolute joke.